After 17 years of helping individuals plan for retirement, we've discovered there's a point in nearly every retirement journey that most people don't anticipate. And it doesn't happen when you reach your first 500K or even $1 million. It's not when you fully max out your 401K either. The real shift happens at the exact moment your retirement investments begin working harder than you do. So today, I'm going to walk you through the two crucial milestones that can completely reshape how you view money forever, how they create greater peace of mind, and also how to determine when you're actually going to hit these milestones, even if you're getting started later in life. Here's what the past 17 years of retirement planning has shown us. Most people assume retirement is about grinding it out until age 60 or 65, hoping everything eventually works out. But there's a mathematical turning point. It's called the crossover moment, where your investments become the main driver of your wealth instead of your contributions. And once you understand this, retirement planning stops feeling like you're pushing a heavy rock uphill and starts to feel more like you're working with gravity instead of fighting against it. And go ahead and click the like button if you remember Sisyphus from Greek mythology. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but he was cursed to push a massive rock uphill forever. And that's exactly how we don't want retirement planning to feel at all. Now, in every retirement plan we've built at Streamline Financial over the last 17 years, there are really two engines working behind the scenes. The first engine is your contributions. This is the money you actively save into your 401k, IRA, and taxable accounts. When you're early in your career, this engine is responsible for about 90% of the progress. Then the second engine is compound growth. This is your money generating more money over time. At the beginning, it's almost invisible. It doesn't feel like it's doing much. Maybe it's a few $100s here or there, maybe a few thousand as it slowly increases. And compared to what you're contributing, it can feel a little underwhelming. But here's what I've consistently seen happen. These two engines don't remain equal forever. Eventually, the math completely flips. Let me show you exactly what I mean. There is a crossover point in your portfolio where your annual growth becomes greater than your yearly contributions. And we'll talk about how to recognize when you've reached it. This is when you move from being the primary driver of your wealth to more of a passenger, allowing your money to handle most of the heavy lifting. And that's a great place to be. Let me walk you through a simple example. Sarah is 45 years old and contributes $25,000 per year into her retirement accounts. We'll assume a 7% average return for this example. When she had $200,000 saved, that 7% growth came out to around $14,000. So she was contributing $25,000 while her investments were generating about $14,000 in growth. When she reached $350,000, that 7% growth increased to roughly $24,000, almost matching her contributions. Then when she hit $500,000, that same 7% return produced about $35,000 annually. Now her investments were doing more work than her contributions. And at $750,000, that 7% growth climbs above $50,000 per year. At that point, her portfolio is growing at more than double what she's contributing. That is the crossover point in action. And once she reaches that milestone, something shifts psychologically. She no longer feels like she's solely responsible for her retirement success, which can feel incredibly freeing. But here's the key takeaway from experience. Reaching the crossover point does not mean you stop contributing. It simply means you can finally breathe a little easier. Now, I want to introduce another important concept that has been a game changer for many pre-retirees, and that is the coast number. Your coast number is the amount you need invested today so that even if you never add another dollar, compound growth alone can still carry you to your retirement goal. This isn't about retiring early, it's really about gaining peace of mind. Here's how you calculate it. First, determine your retirement income need. Let's say you need $80,000 annually in today's dollars. Step 2, subtract your guaranteed income sources. For example, if Social Security provides $30,000 per year, that leaves you needing $50,000 from your investments. Step 3, calculate your target portfolio. Using the 4% rule as a starting point, you would need about $1.25 million. Step 4, work backward using compound growth. If you are 15 years away from retirement and expect a 5% real return after inflation, you divide 1.25 million by 1.05, raised to the power of 15. That gives you approximately $600,000. So if you have $600,000 invested today, you've reached your COAST number. Even without making another contribution, you are mathematically on track to hit your retirement goal. Now remember, we're working with averages, and life is never perfect. Plans can change because life changes. That's why the process of planning is just as important as the numbers themselves. But these numbers are still helpful for understanding your crossover point and your COAST number. I remember one client, a very direct type A personality. During an income plan review, he suddenly asked, "How much until I reach $5 million?" I responded, "That's a great question. What makes that number important to you?" He said, "That's the amount I want in my portfolio." I asked, "If you had that today, what would actually change?" After talking through it, he said, "I just want to know my wife will be okay if I pass away." That was the real concern. Since we were already reviewing his income plan, we ran a scenario where he passed away earlier than expected. The results showed his wife would already be financially secure. That realization brought him tremendous peace of mind. He had effectively reached his COAST number for his situation. After that meeting, it allowed them to start thinking differently. They began imagining what life could look like if work was no longer necessary. Over the last decade and a half, I've seen how the crossover point and COAST number create a powerful mental shift. Before reaching these milestones, market downturns can feel devastating, like they're completely disrupting your plan. Missing contributions might feel risky, and retirement can seem far away and uncertain. But after reaching or even getting close to these milestones, market fluctuations become much easier to handle, especially if your portfolio is properly structured. Contributions begin to feel more like added security rather than a strict necessity. Retirement starts to feel achievable instead of distant. The transformation is significant. I've watched clients go from stress to confidence simply by viewing retirement this way. But remember, reaching these milestones doesn't mean you stop being responsible with money. It just means you can worry a little less. So here's what I want you to do after watching this video. First, calculate your retirement income needs and be realistic about your lifestyle and expectations. Second, determine your target portfolio size using the 4% rule as a starting point. Third, calculate your personal COAST number based on how many years you have until retirement. And finally, identify where you currently stand relative to that crossover point, where your investment growth begins to exceed your contributions. Then adjust your strategy as your life evolves. If you found this perspective helpful, go ahead and hit the like button so I know. Subscribe if you want more insights on retirement planning, and leave a comment if you'd like to share your thoughts. And remember, retirement isn't just about having enough money to stop working. It's about having the freedom to choose whether you continue working, explore something new, or pursue what truly excites you. That is real financial freedom. And here are a few more videos to help you make retirement the best phase of your life. Take care.